Gio, what's going on in Montreal, man? Former captain of the team there. Are they late on this? Is that a couple years too late, or is this right on time?
I think so. I think, yeah. I mean, I think their success last year. I think it was kind of out of nowhere. I thought it bought Burge some more time, but obviously Montreal being in town the other night, I talked with Gally for a bit, and he said it was just a tough environment. Like, it was just going to the rink is really tough. It's hard to get through those days. You're trying to find answers. There's nothing going the right way. You seeing guys just kind of checking out and making it hard. So it was a tough time in Montreal. Hopefully this kind of sparks some things, some change. But you're missing some big guys too, right? Like, Price isn't around day to day. Weber's not around day to day, so like it's hard to blame them. It's hard to, but I think their success last year set them up for a little bit of failure this year too, because I don't think they were as good as they were. They weren't as good as a team as far as they went last year.
They went through the playoffs with emotion.
Yeah, and I think, clearly they're a good team. They played well. They had a good – to get to that point, you can't diminish it. But I think built for the long haul, they weren't there. And then you lose two of your top guys in that room. It's going to be a hard year.
They lost a lot more than that, though, Gio.
I know
you're naming.
I'm talking the two veteran guys.
So they lost arguably one of the best goaltenders in the National Hockey League in Carey Price. He hasn't been around all year.
Yeah.
They have lost Shea Weber, the captain of the team, a solidifying factor on the back end that played 23, 25 minutes a game. Okay. They also, for a period of time, lost Joel Edmondson, another defenseman, defensively responsible, big, solid, physical guy. He was a big part of their run last year. They have lost him for a few games. They also
Petrie was out for a bit too, was he not?
Petrie has not been the same this year. He's been out. I don't know what's going on, but he's been out for a little bit. And then you look at the forward line. They lost Kakaniemi, who is, like he's a third overall pick a couple years back. He has not been a player that has provided to where he was drafted. That being said, very young guy, 22 years old, has played really solid hockey and was a factor of them getting to where they needed to go throughout the season and into the playoffs. They lose their number one center last year, okay, in Philip Deneau. They could not get him re-signed. Philip Deneau goes and signs out in LA. They lose two of their top two centers. Then you have Cole Caulfield, the savior, as we would call him. Okay. He comes into the playoffs and he literally goes on fire. He looks like the real deal, mini Guy Lafleur, flying up and down the wings, scoring goals, making plays. And everybody in Montreal, Canadian land is like, this is incredible. And those guys where are they? They had to send Cole Caulfield down in the minors because he was struggling so bad, and rightfully so. He's a young guy. He's got to learn. But Philip Deneau, Kakaniemi, Shea Weber, Carey Price, go and pick the top 3 or 4 guys off every single team in the National Hockey League. You're going to see a major dip. Yeah. That's just the way it is. And I don't look at Bergevin like he's played he was 9 full years as a GM. He won 3 division titles. He's made the playoffs 6 times out of the 9 years. He's won 6 playoff series. He went to the conference finals in 2014 and then the Stanley Cup finals last year. I bet you he has a better resume than most of the GMs in the NHL right now.
For sure. But I go, Petey, you said, was this years coming? Look, he's on the last year of his deal. He just brought a team to the Stanley Cup finals and they don't extend him. Like, his contract status Like, why, if you had a GM that you trusted, that you believed in wholeheartedly, that brought your team to the Stanley Cup Finals, and you don't re-sign him, you don't extend him,
I
you
wasn't
let him go
aware.
into last year. You go into last year of your deal with that.
No.
Like, that's, especially in a place like Montreal, right? Like, where that's going to spiral. Something was there. I don't know what it is.
I wasn't aware that he was in the last year of his deal, but I mean, knowing that, I wouldn't have brought him back. I mean, even with the Stanley Cup Finals last year, because I think that was
just been there too long.
Well,
do you need a change? Do you need a fresh start? 9 years is a long time as a GM in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, 9 years is a long time as a GM in the National Hockey League. It's also, did he give Carey Price that contract? Not a good contract. Okay. Josh Anderson having a great year this year. He lost Kokoniemi. What else had happened? They had the draft pick this year that was controversial. You traded Sergachev for Drouin. I mean, you've got a long list of tough moves, man. I mean, this was in the works for a while, at least I think that Stanley Cup run last year is what saved him. And I think you already.
Rivs, you talked about the conference finals in 2014. That's when I was there. So after that year, I want to say he changed over 7-8 guys from that team. A team that goes to the conference finals, you changed over half the team. And it was a weird thing for that to happen and see that happen. And it was like the changes were being made for no apparent reason. You know what I mean? Like a couple of guys, you're going to lose a couple guys here and there, and that's going to happen. You got guys aging out. You got guys, contracts are up, and you just find other guys within your system. That's completely normal. But close to half a team that went to a conference finals, I don't know. I mean, I love Berge. I loved him when I was there, and some of those things that PD talked about, some of those moves are going to come into question, and things like that, being a little too antsy in a market like that gets you in trouble too.
I mean, obviously the 06-07 Sabres team being the exception because we lost our two best players to free agency, but most teams are supposed to add. They're supposed to add to their teams when they go to the
funny thing
finals,
is
not switch over 8 players.
We talked about all the players. Like when you look at Marc Bergevin and what he's done and who he's brought in to make the team stronger, and the lack there of the players that are out are major factors, but the players that are actually there this year are still needing to produce. And you had brought up a guy who is a major part of the Montreal Canadiens, and that's Jeff Petrie. Jeff Petrie in the last 4 years had 12 goals and 42 points. The next year he had 13 goals and 46 points. The next year he had 11 goals and 40 points. And last year, in 55 games, he had 12 goals and 42 points. He was on pace for 60. This year, 23 games played, 0 goals, 2 assists. What the heck is going on? He is so much better than what he is showing right now. And we don't know if there's an injury situation or what's going on, but it's head scratching. Like Jeff Petrie has been an exceptionally good defenseman in this league for a very long time. And even he's there's a difference between, not playing to your standard, but then there's a huge eyebrow raise right now. And that's Jeff Petrie.
Yeah. And I don't disagree. I don't disagree one bit. It's what you come back to, right, is where is the mindset at? Where do they stand in relations to what's going on, right? Like, how it's been. You guys have been in a room that's spiraling the wrong way. It's hard to stop that momentum. It's hard to get your game back in order. And for a guy like Petrie, Gallagher, trying to think of who else would be in that room that's going to have a big voice. Those guys are trying to find answers and then they're trying to perform on top of it. That is a tall, tall order, because you get consumed with a lot of stuff away from the rink. And I mean away from the rink, away from the ice, not away from the rink. You get consumed with the daily grind of trying to figure out and find answers that affects your game, right? You're not able to focus on your game because you're focused on the team, and you're focused on trying to make the say the right thing or do the right thing, make the right changes, starting to stop that snowball effect from going the other way. You know what I mean? I think
is Montreal the toughest place to play when you're in this situation in the National Hockey League? Name me a place that's worse.
No, it's in good years it's tough. You lose 2 in a row or 3 in a row in a good year. When you're a good team, it's hard there. Like things start to, oh, well, this is happening and this is what's going on. Rumors are made up. You know, the one year we didn't make the playoffs when I was there 5 years. We didn't make it 1 year. I was hurt. I only had played 25, 30 games that year because of an injury. We changed GM. We changed coach that year. That's when Randy Cunningworth came in. It was a miserable year.
Stop right there for a sec. Why didn't Cunny get a longer chance there? Because I heard the guys absolutely loved Cunny.
Listen, you played for Cunny. Everyone loves Cunny.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like I heard, like, and didn't you guys actually do all right when Cunny took over?
Yeah, absolutely. But
I heard he put PK Subban in his place in a hurry.
Does he speak French?
That's the Petey.
Don't shake your head. Petey. Don't
Petey,
shake your head.
There were Gio.
I'm trying to find the word. It wasn't riots. There were protests outside of the Bell Center because Cunny did not speak French.
Come on.
Legit. I swear to you, outside of the Bell Center, they were protesting. And the GM, who was Gauthier at the time, Pierre Gauthier, he came out and said, Cunny is taking over on an interim basis for the rest of the year. That was it. And now there start all these protests, and Gauthier didn't even come out and say, listen, this is a guy we want to take over for the rest of the year. We understand the sensitivity of having a coach that speaks French, but I'm telling you, there were protests the minute he was named interim coach, protests outside the Bell Center because he didn't speak French. That's why he didn't get a look past the 25, 30 games he had.
Cunningworth spoke like 5 languages. He spoke English. He spoke lawnmower. He spoke snowblower. He spoke trucks, tractor, pickup trucks, and snowmobiles, and jet skis and boats.
That's why.
I can't believe
that's the only reason. I'm telling you, the only reason.
I was so happy when Cunny got that gig. I was like, and then I remember you guys were actually doing well. I felt like you guys were like he had done well enough to earn himself a chance at a longer opportunity, and he didn't get the gig.
Well, and he got let go. He wasn't even an assistant coach. He got completely let go after that. But that's when Burge came in, and everything kind of changed over from there.
Want to hear a great Cunningworth story? So we're in Syracuse playing the Crunch, and those games got completely crazy sometimes. And because we played them 14 times a year, once before Christmas, 13 times after, and they always had donkeys in the lineup. Like it was a shit show every time we played them. Okay, so they ring one hard off the crossbar. It goes bar down, does not go in. They call it a goal. Cunningworth's going ape shit. The score's tight. Gary Agnew's the coach on the other bench, and I remember Cunny was losing it on the ref. The captain's over. Hoot is talking to the ref over by the penalty box. Mika goes over and grabs the water bottle off the back of his net, and he splashes it in front of the goal judge and then wipes it with his arm, kind of cleaning the glass for him, being funny, right? So I think he gets tossed. Cunningworth launches. We just had JR on last week talking about when he threw the water bottle across. Cunningworth absolutely launches a water bottle across the ice, okay? Misses the ref by about a foot. Okay, hits the dasher where the glass meets, and the whole bottle, like the lid pops off, explodes. But it's the blue Powerade. Like the blue drink just goes everywhere. The ref turns, looks over at the benches, and Agnew's just kind of looking over at Cunningworth like this, and Cunny goes like this. He points at Agnew, and Agnew threw it, and he starts, and then he runs down, and there's only a piece of glass between the benches, and he like pushes on the glass, and I think he gets tossed. But anyway, yeah, so he launches the water bottle and just misses the ref, but he threw the blue Powerade, right? So anyway, that was Cunny. And then he points and blames Agnew. But anyway, so the best.
No video, eh? There's no video of
not in the
A back then. No,
not in the A back then. No, but could you imagine if there was like social media then? But oh my god, man. It was okay. That's the minors for you. But anyway, Gio, I don't know. Like we sit here, you were the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, and they're making all these changes there. So with Bergevin. I don't know. I always wondered. I could never take this guy seriously, and I don't want to beat this horse too much, but I couldn't take him seriously with the hair and the biceps and the suits and I didn't know what he was there more to do, to be a model or be a GM.
I think he was a perfect GM because I'm going to tell you, Montreal, it's one of the most stylish places, I think, in certainly in North America. Okay. It's incredible what they consider fashion. Anything you wear, you could wear a pair of track pants with a flannel shirt and a pair of rubber boots. And I'm going to tell you, people are like, wow, that guy's got it going on. Look at the style he has. I mean, anything goes there, and you have all kinds. And I loved it. It was a very different, they love their culture there, and there's a lot of culture, and it was a fantastic place to play. But I think he did a nice job. I mean, there's some decisions that, we can all go back and kind of, say the things that we would have done differently. But for the most part, pretty successful.
No, I think it was a success for him. That's why, like, you can look at the things that he did wrong, the trades that didn't work out his way. But to be able to go in and trade PK Subban out of Montreal and have a win out of that trade, there's not many GMs that would have been able to make that happen. Or been able to make that move either at the time. Like, and he said, he when he first came in, he said, this guy is going to either make or break me as a GM. Is because he knew that he had to get him out of that room at the time, and he's matured and changed, but at the time he had to get him out of the room in order for that team.
Has PK Subban matured and changed?
But
I don't know.
I think he's gotten worse.
Is he a me guy, or is he a team guy?
He's
I don't know. And I'm not saying
he's a me guy because he wants to self-promote. He wants to be the guy, but he's a great personal guy. Like, that's the thing that, like, he's a good teammate because he includes everyone, right? Like, he's not off by himself. Yeah. He's not like, that's not PK. PK is fun loving.
So he's a team guy.
Yeah, like,
you're telling me he's a team guy.
I've heard he's a great guy. I heard he's a great guy, but
he's a great guy, but he's a self-promoting, I don't want to say self-serving, but that's he came in at a time where that was really needed. Well, it was a big, huge change. Change.
Yeah.
From the old guard of the NHL. That was a big shock to the NHL, having a guy like that come in.
Which was boring as all hell.
And he changed the shit out of it.
And you know what? There's a lot of guys that didn't like it. A lot 100%. Of guys don't like it. I didn't like it.
Me and Hal Gill and the veteran guys in that room, it was hard to swallow. That's why I say, like, but he's a great guy. Like, you can, like, in the room, he's personal. Like, to the wives, to the kids.
He's not malicious. He's not malicious with what he's doing. He's selling the game. He's selling himself.
Exactly.
And he's going to have himself a great career after hockey. There's no question. He's going to kill it on ESPN or wherever he goes.
Yes.
So that's huge.
He is an incredible speaker. Where was he last year, Petey?
His Jersey.
What
do you mean?
No. But he did
ESPN.
ESPN.
He hosted ESPN a couple of times. Sports Center.
Do you remember what I had said to you? I think I had texted something to you. PK Subban was on doing throughout the playoffs. Was it not?
Yes.
What do you remember what I said?
Yeah, incredible.
Like, I mean, captivating, incredible. The way he speaks, the way the articulate, thoughts that go through his brain and how he presents it is absolutely. I mean, he was a Norris Trophy candidate, or actually, sorry,
he won.
Not candidate. He won.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you right now, he is going to finish the game of hockey. He is going to move on from the National Hockey League. He will be one of the best announcers, without question, with how charismatic he is, and whether you like him or you don't like him, you will watch him.
The only thing I didn't like about
incredible.
PK Subban and because he's extremely entertaining. It was when he was training and skating with Lindsey Vonn. Like that like the videos with Lindsey Vonn are fine, whatever. You're going to be out to dinner or whatnot, but you're on the ice. Like, like he's running drills and it's like, oh my God. Like,
but look at us three. We are not social media savvy individuals. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm definitely not social.
You're not. So what? Like, that's the stuff that people are looking for. That stupid shit is what they're looking for. Is as much as we might not like it, as much as I could never put.
Craig liked seeing Lindsey Vonn in the videos. He did. he did.
But you know what I mean? Like, that's what people love, and that's why he's to the status he is away from the game already.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right.
Things like that.
That was quite a long PK Subban segment. I didn't really see it coming.
I
think the Sabres should go bring in his salary cap and bring in a couple players from Jersey, but I don't. That's way past. That was something we talked about back in the off season. But let's talk about a little Sabres. Gio, are you watching some of the Sabres? They're apparently they're looking for a goalie. We just chatted with Elliot Friedman not long ago, and he was telling us that the Sabres are looking for a goaltender.
And
Murray,
I'm assuming
is
Murray off the table. It's not their problem. Their problem is the problems that they're having are the problems that we've talked about previously. They are a good, hardworking team that just is going to fall short because of their inexperience and stuff like that. And that's what's happening, right? Like, so much more entertaining to watch. A few games, goaltending has hurt them, but that's just it. The numbers of the goaltender go based off of how the team is playing in front of them. And when the team is making mistakes and they're giving up grade A's, and now your goalie's numbers go from 925 to 875, you're like, well, where goaltending's not, keeping you in it. It is something that they need. For sure. They're like the rest of their team, too, not inexperienced, but they're just not there yet. That's not the level you need to win consistently on a nightly basis. But that's not their concern. That's not why they're losing games, in my opinion.
Thank you for saying that, because I couldn't agree more. I watch people pick on the goalies. It's easy to pick on the goalies. It's easy to say Aaron Dell's not an NHL goalie. It's easy to say Tokarski hasn't been a regular in the NHL in how many years. And, it's easy to make all these excuses. But the fact of the matter is that I went back, and I was telling Craig earlier, I went back and watched a bunch of goals. And I really only watched 8 or 9 goals of maybe 15 against, but I got the gist of it. I got the gist of what was going on, and I don't think I missed any other goals that like you watch. I saw the soft goals that people were talking about. How about that? And I sit and I think, yeah, okay, some soft goals. Guy shoots from the outside, right-handed shot from the right side, and it goes in short side. That shouldn't happen. I get it. Well, you know what? Every now and then, great goalies allow those too. But you have some soft play in front. I mean, there's a goal against Columbus where, you know, Max Domi toe drags Dylan Cousins at the blue line. I mean, like, you're supposed to finish that body check. You're supposed to hit that guy and try to take a body there and not let, and if you take a body, maybe that puck doesn't get to the net. You have Rasmus Dahlin who just backs right into the goalie when a guy's coming down the wing to shoot, and he just backs up, gets in front of the goalie's eyes, screen. You got Mark Pysyk who on a penalty kill, I was never a penalty killer. Jill, you ripped me once for making a comment about a power play. You're like, oh, you're talking power play now, eh, Petey? But on the penalty kill, like, guy wide open in front, leaves him alone, and then goes out and tries to get out of the way of a shot, taking away the goalie's eyes, and it goes over his shoulder. I mean, I don't want to keep going here. These are just the ones that are coming off the top of my head. That doesn't sound like a goaltending issue to me. That sounds like a personnel problem.
And they need to improve it. Going forward, they're going to need to improve their goaltending, just like they're going to need to improve their roster. But I don't think that's the sole reason they're losing games, and I don't know what they're looking for to try to patch that, right? Like, you got you got UPL in the minors. How long do you wait for him to kind of come
Let me
along?
ask you this, guys. The Sabres are sitting. I got to go. I have to look directly at the standings. But the Sabres are where
25th in the league.
What point wise? I'm talking in there from a wild card. Like, they're 5 points back of a wild card spot right now. Okay, that's not a ton. They have a lot of currency in draft picks, second rounders next year. They've got first rounders this year. Do you go and try and acquire a few pieces?
What is it? The 2 top wild cards, right? Correct. So 5 points. So you're trying to make ground on Columbus and Pittsburgh.
I mean, you're trying to make ground on those spots. Those are the teams that are in those spots right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's how it finishes.
No, I'm saying
that's 5 points. Yeah. That's only 5 points, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in front of you to try that you have to contend with. It's not, you're not 5 points out and you are 1 spot out.
Looking at the standings right now. Are you surprised with where they're at? Are you feeling that I feel that this is where they should be? Like, where is your thought when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres and where they're sitting in the conference?
They're higher than I thought they would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at this team, if you're 500 at the end of this season, which you're 1 game away from being 500 right now, I think that's a really good season and a good start to the next direction. I don't think you go out, if you're Kevin Adams, and look for making a move short term to try to get closer to that playoff spot now. I think you just continue to build.
But isn't there a piece out there you could trade for right now, kind of like an Alex Tuch type piece that you're going to add to the lineup here maybe in the next month and a half or so? And another player like that you could insert, maybe even a defenseman, and go and find yourself a goalie, and who knows what can happen.
If those moves are out there, for sure you have to make them, but it has to make sense for you now, and it has to make sense for you long term. You know what I mean? You can't patchwork it just for this year to get through, or the next year and a half. You have to if the move's there, you have to make it. And I think people have said that. I mean, Bergevin even said that as they were going through the struggle. He's like, I'm not going to make a move just to make a move, so the optics say I was doing something. If it makes sense, you make it. Whether you are sitting 7th or you're sitting 1st, you only make the move whether it makes your team better now and or going forward.
All right. Well, I
biggest surprise this year.
I wonder if they're surprising themselves and think, hey, we could even be in a better spot. What were we going to say, Riv?
Biggest surprise in the quarter mark of the season
for the Sabres?
Yeah,
that's the easiest question. I know you're probably asking Gio because he's our guest, but I mean that's the easiest question you could ask.
Why?
Tage Thompson, by far.
Tage
By
Thompson? Why is he
far.
playing well? Oh, let me ask: Is Tage playing well?
Statistics would say that he's having an outbreak season. Or
He's
a
at
breakout
career
season.
highs. Is he not already?
Breakout season? Outbreak
Breakout?
season? Make the damn point. What are you talking about?
No point to be made. But I did call it. It's a matter of time before that man.
You called the 6'5" guy that can skate like the wind and shoot it as hard as can be, that you called that he was going to have a breakout eventually here? Is that what you're
100%? 100%. Everybody was shitting on Tage Thompson.
Genius. You are a hockey genius.
That's bullshit, Leo. Or Gio.
Leo.
Calling you my dog's name now. Calling you Leo. Everybody was down on Tage. Everyone's like, he's a bust. We got him in the Riley trade. He's bust. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. He got called up. How did he do last year? Just
answer your own question, man. Just go on. Just go on with it. You love throwing the rhetorical questions. I can't remember. Did anyone have a good year last year on the Sabres?
No. And it's about him coming of age too. Like he wasn't going to step in. And let's face it, he's had more of an opportunity to be that because there's no Jack Eichel in the lineup. Where is he on that power play? He's where Jack is.
Where Jack is, yep. And the funny thing
he
is,
doesn't get those minutes, he doesn't get those touches without Jack not being here. So
no question.
It's a little of everything.
He's probably in front of the net if Jack's here.
Yeah, and you get one or two maybe bounced off you.
And the funny thing is, the power play where on Jack's side, the puck, the entire power play went through Jack. There's only it was so
it's static.
So static. It went from Dahlin to Jack, and Jack did what he had to do, whether a shot or this, that, and the other, or it went to Jack to Dahlin to the one-timer to Olofsson. Well, it seems like now that they've kind of switched where the puck control is coming from Olofsson and Dahlin, and you're opening up the one-timer for Tage Thompson. And I'm just happy for Tage because you know what? I mean, I think that there is pressure on him. There is pressure on him because of the O'Reilly trade, and every player in the damn deal seemed to not really work out. And I'm just happy for Tage. He's played very well. And I'm going to tell you, the credit right now has to go to Granato. And what I mean by that is how about putting a 6'7" guy at center and just saying, let's give him a shot. Let's give him a shot.
Well, he played center. He played center for Granato at the NTDP, I believe.
Did he really?
Yeah, I believe he did.
Then Granato's a genius. Good on him, because I'm going to tell you, it's worked exceptionally well. And when you're sitting there thinking to yourself, in short time, you're going to have another player that played exceptionally well last year. Okay. And that's Casey Middlestat. And Casey Middlestat is going to hopefully find his game. It's going to take a little bit of time because he's been off for a couple months, but find his game. And when he comes back, if he can play his game and take another line to another level, now you're going to have a Tage Thompson. Now you're going to have a Dylan Cousins and a Casey Middlestat. And they're all under 24 years old. It's really, really nice to see. And then you have Peyton Krebs, who's in the minors right now, who is getting it done. So there's a lot of positive stuff. You got Jack Quinn, who's leading in goals and in points the American Hockey League. He's 20 years old. He's 20. It's insane. Buffalo fans right now should have a smile on their face, because every time I go and look at our boy Baker, Chris Baker is giving us the lowdown on all these players that are not in Buffalo right now. And Owen Power, every time he tweets it, he had two more points tonight and played 25 minutes, and he was an absolute stud. And
it's interesting. I was talking to Luke Tuck the other day. He's back from his injury, and they played against Devin Levi.
Michigan. Okay, yeah.
Played against Devin
Northeastern.
Levi. Is it Northeastern?
Yep.
And I didn't even ask about Devin Levi. We were just talking, and I said, "Oh, how was your first game back?" And this is exactly what he said. I said, "How was your first game back?" He said, "Oh," I said, "How'd you feel?" Blah blah blah, because he'd had an injury, and he just said, "I'm going to tell you one thing." He said, "Devin Levi is unbelievable." He goes, "I don't know." He goes, "I don't know how it translates to the NHL." He's like, "No one really knows." He said, "But right now," he said, "this guy is unbelievable." I guess he robbed him, but he had another shutout. He had another shutout.
Translates to the NHL.
He had another shutout. Well, because I think
you got.
I think all he's saying is like right now with where he's at in his development, he is unbelievable. And he's like, the Sabres have an unbelievable prospect in Devin Levi. He's like, I don't know if that translates to the NHL or not. And how could you?
16.
I think that's actually for a 20-year-old kid to say that. I think that's pretty mature to say. I don't know if it translates to the NHL or not, but I mean, I think he's
16 games played, 1.43 goals against. His save percentage is .950.
8 shutouts.
Oh,
how many shutouts? 7 or 8 shutouts already.
It doesn't say here, but I know that,
he's got over 6 shutouts for sure.
Those numbers are absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think the score of that game, was like 1-0 maybe. 1 or 2-0.
I saw him get lit up by BC though, boys.
Who?
BC lit him
Devin
up.
Levi did?
Levi. Yeah, no, I went to Boston a month or whatever ago. So we had a 20-year anniversary reunion of our championship team. No big deal. And so we went to the BC Northeastern game. He was in net. BC took him down, boys.
I saw that picture.
And handle BC.
I didn't know you won a championship. Never heard that before. It's the first. What was the score?
I don't remember. I think it was like 4-2, 5-2, something like that.
I saw that picture, and I noticed something about that picture. Now, you guys know me. I'm a bit of a dick sometimes. I like to rip on people. But I noticed something about that picture. A lot of you guys are into the same trends, man. A lot of you guys wearing those dress shoes with the white soles on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
no, I've noticed. I've noticed.
That's what's in.
I know. I can't get into. I don't know. I think everybody's wearing them. Too many people. You got them, Riv?
Yep.
Okay, they must be a rich guy thing. They must be a rich guy thing. But I noticed every guy had on those shoes. Every guy. Anyway, that's all.
I didn't notice that.
I noticed him. My brother has a pair. I ripped him for his too. That's all I'll say. I didn't know you won a championship at BC.
Yep.
5 shutouts, Beatty, this year. 5 shutouts.
That's it? That's all he has?
Yeah, that's it. In 16 games.
In what, 16 games?
Yeah, that's.
I'm sorry. Well, I said
every
8.
third game you're
facing a
shutout. No, that's not great.
You know what's amazing when you go back, and look at all of his basically playing career, even when he, going back to when he was in Quebec as a younger guy in his 14, 15, 16-year-old years, his numbers are insane. Insane. And then he went to Carleton Place, which is in the CCHL Junior League up in Canada. And his numbers were like this, just completely off the chart.
Then he went to the World Juniors.
Then his World Junior numbers are mind-boggling.
Yeah,
his save percentage was, I think like 960 or something like that, and his goals against average was .75.
Yeah, will his height get him?
He's 6 feet tall. He's 185 pounds. He is considered
6 foot would be short.
he would be considered one of the shortest goaltenders in the National Hockey League, besides the goalie from
Soros from Nashville.
Soros in Nashville.
He's even still in Nashville.
Yeah, he's the number one guy.
Is he?
Yes.
There you
go. But typically, the goaltenders, I remember talking to a scout, and I cannot remember who it was, but they normally do not even look at guys unless you're like 6'1", 6'2". Like that is like the cutoff.
Yeah.
And then, you have,
well, Jimmy Bedard he won cups he was the goalie coach for the Red Wings. He had Osgood there, and he was working with Jimmy Howard and these guys. He said perfect height for a goalie is 6'2". Like that's the perfect height. I remember him saying that. And he was also the guy that I had the conversation with, Riv, that talked about big goalies and fatiguing faster and getting injured. That was the guy that he's from Niagara region. So I got to know.
Well, me and you had fought about Ben Bishop for years. I was a big Ben Bishop fan. Petey, not so much, because he was worried about his injury issues, and it just so happened that Petey just nailed it right on the top of the head. This guy was like a
you're starting to see it with Devin Dubnyk too. I mean, another great.
Well, they're all older though. They're all in their mid-30s. Like, I mean, at some point in time, your knees are going to, your groins, all your body's going to break down at some point. And
well, this was happening in Bishop's, like in his prime, he was starting to get hurt, right?
Yeah, so, in Tampa.
But hey, did you play with Claude Lemieux in Jersey? Was he there when you were there, or was he?
No,
gone?
He wasn't there. He was gone by then.
See his kid.
I missed him by a year or whatever.
See his kid the other night.
He was. Where was he? I was with him at a camp.
Brendan?
Would it have been Buffalo? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Buffalo. He was Buffalo property. He was at a camp. He was a camp.
Second round draft pick.
Yeah.
And then Tim Murray traded him
in the Kane deal.
Armia was our first rounder. Joel Armia was our first rounder. We traded Brendan Lemieux, who was the second rounder. We traded Tyler Myers, who was the 10th overall pick, but had played, 4 or 5 years in the league at the time. Drew Stafford was also in that deal, and a first-round draft pick, which turned out to be Roslovic.
Yeah, that's right.
Who is now in Columbus. So anyway, go on about Brendan Lemieux. You were at a training camp with him?
Yeah, so it would have been his first year, because I think he got traded that first year at the end of that year.
He didn't want to be here.
Bogosian deal.
He didn't want to be in Buffalo.
He didn't want to be in Buffalo?
Yeah, that was the rumor. That. I think his dad wanted him out of Buffalo or something like that, so he got him traded. He's already on his fourth team.
He's bounced around. I know.
He's already on his fourth team. He's gone from Buffalo to Winnipeg to the Rangers to LA, and now he's in this incident. So I wonder if there's like a little bit of a tie there. What do you think of the bite, though? I couldn't tell there was a bite, but I mean, you're going to bite a guy like that, and you're going to cut him like that. You're like, we were just talking to Elliot. I mean, I said 10 games. Give him 10 games.
Well,
before you go there, Gio, let me ask you a question. It's a little trivia question. Do you know the last player in the National Hockey League that was suspended for biting?
And who they bit?
No, I got nothing. I don't know. Bit.
As Andrew is showing his thumb,
you can still
the last
see
player was Jarkko Ruutu. Played for the Ottawa Senators. I think he was playing for Ottawa, wasn't he, Petey?
Yeah.
How'd you get tied up with him?
It was a scrum after a whistle in between the benches, and I don't know. I think I tried to push my thumb through his cheek, and then he turned.
And this guy gets suspended.
He turned. He turned. I don't know if I was trying to poke his eye out of his face.
Eyeball out, exactly.
But he ended up moving his mouth over and he put my thumb in his mouth, okay, and just bit down. So as I started to try to take it out, because what happens is, and that might sound impossible, is what happens is, the part where there's like a little piece that comes over the thumb, where like you're in that like that cloth piece where your thumb goes in, and then there's like a connector piece from the protective plastic over top. Then there's a piece that holds it there. Well, I used to always cut that little piece, so my thumb would be.
This was with glove on.
Glove on.
Glove on.
Glove on. Yeah, that's the kicker to it. I think most people would assume that it was glove off. So I had, and then he put my thumb in his mouth, and he started to bite down. And as I started to try to take my thumb out of he bit harder and harder and harder, and he bit so hard that underneath my thumbnail, like a big chunk of skin and blood popped out from underneath my thumbnail. So it's all like nerves and like shit and skin, just like flesh and like, well, I don't know what was in it, but it was just dangling out over my thumb. And then, I was in shock, man. I was in shock. I looked down. I couldn't believe it. So
did you learn your lesson?
You know what, Riv?
Because you can't blame it on him.
It was survival mode for him at that point.
Absolutely.
If Petey's coming at me, I'm doing everything and anything.
You got a 6'5" guy that's 250 pounds that has rage issues, that's literally like a chained junkyard dog, and he's got let off his leash. He's on the ice, and he's going to attack. What do you expect the guy to do?
So the next game we play against him, right? I go after him. I go after him, but I don't jump him. I didn't jump him. I went at him, and I'm like, come on, let's go. Let's go. You have to. Let's go. Meanwhile, I got my thumb taped up, right? I'm like, let's go. And he's going like this to me. He's like, he's doing the chomps. He's like,
that's
like, come on.
Probably enraged you even more. Probably
and I was like, do you have any idea what it took for me to not absolutely sucker punch him? It took everything in my willpower to not do it. But then again,
you did learn.
All right, Riv. Good one. You know what, Riv? You know what? Everything bad that's ever happened to you, I'm so happy it happened to you. Like everything. That guy that broke your wrist with the slash, you deserved it. You absolutely deserved it.
I never broke my wrist.
Because you know what's funny? You know what's funny is that you say this, and this is exactly why I wanted to kill him when I played against him, Gio, for this exact reason. This is how he was, just like this. This was Craig Rivet, but only in on-ice mode. On-ice mode.
Riz was never allowed on the ice when I was out there.
It was way worse.
Bad matchup for whatever team he was on if he was out there against me. So
I was on the Riv a few times, and then
I played against top line guys, Gio. So we would have never crossed paths, but
I remember being on the ice with Riv, and he opted to fight Adam Mayer instead. That's all I remember.
I would too. That's a smart choice, Riv.
I think you're wrong. I think Mersey would have been the worst choice.
Oh, I fought Mersey twice. It was fine. He's a tough nut. He's a little squirrely, that guy.
He was as
I love playing with Mersey. He's awesome.
That size. He was literally as tough as they came. As tough as they came.
That's right.
That's I mean, Olympics, Gio, are they going? Are they not going? I don't think they're going.
Ooh, I don't know if they're going. I think
would you
where
go?
Things are at, and would I go?
Two-time Olympian?
Would you want to go? If you were in this situation, you have a chance to go to the Olympics. Would you want to be forcing the envelope? And before you answer that question, I'm going to give you a little bit of information before. So you would be going to the All-Star game, okay, in Vegas, which might be quite fun. From there, you are going to be going directly over to Beijing, China, okay? And here's the thing that you need to realize. If you test positive in China, okay, in Beijing, you have to stay there for 3 weeks. 21 days is your quarantine before you can fly home. So let's say you're in the semifinals, because you're probably not going to be in the finals. It probably, Russia's going to beat you out or
Lose to
something like
Sweden or Russia or
Exactly.
Finland or Canada or something.
So you guys will probably be in somewhere around like the semifinals. Let's just say that you test positive for COVID. Now that you understand what has to happen, 21 days you have to stay in China. Are you going?
I think I'm still going.
Oh, you don't care about your team, do you? Well, what if you go back to the Montreal Canadiens, Buffalo Sabres, New Jersey, whatever? What if you're going back to New Jersey in February and you only have like a month or 2 months left, and you're on the bubble?
You're spinning it that I'm a bad teammate now to my team.
Absolutely am.
When there are how many guys on NHL teams are going to be over there? If I were the only guy in the NHL
Only
to
the
go
selfish
over,
ones.
listen, over there and play only the selfish ones, only the good ones. So now you're going to say that I'm selfish because I went over there and played with another 150 other NHLers and that I'm the selfish guy because I don't care about my team because
there's going to be some guys stay back.
They're 100%.
They're not going to put themselves in a position to get COVID and then have to stay there for 3 weeks, which might knock you out of the playoffs because your top players are not there.
I'm
National
not
Hockey
saying
League.
it's a risk. You asked me if I would still go to the Olympics and represent my country and have a chance at a medal in the Olympics. Not whether I was going to get COVID, not whether I was going to have to quarantine for 3 weeks, not whether I was going to put my team in a bad situation. Those are all risks, 100%. But you have a risk walking down the street every day. You have a risk every time you get in your car every day. So I think I'm taking that chance, going over there and having that experience and playing at that level in the Olympics, like a lot of other players are going to do. And at that point, you're putting it in a situation that you hope you're going to get a chartered flight over there. You're going to be in a Olympic village that is going to be extremely contained to certain sports teams, whatever it may be.
So what are
they already were.
So COVID doesn't get in?
They already were. We're already in a house that was a building that was strictly just basically our team. So
COVID can't get in there either. Thank God for that. The walls.
What I'm saying is it's not going to be a free-for-all Olympics like most times. So, yes, I am going. I am taking the chance. It is a chance, but I think I would take that chance.
Learned a lot.
No spectators, right? There are no spectators this year?
I don't know. I can't imagine there would be.
Right? I mean, what are we doing? What are we even doing? You know what? Last thing I'm going to ask you guys.
You lost me. You could get hurt getting into your car. You have an armored car. What are you talking about? You could crash into a car 100 miles an hour. You're not. You're okay. It's like one big bubble wrap. Anyway, I agree with you. I'm going over too. Just thought I'd let you lead things.
You just try to make me look like a bad teammate, bad guy.
Exactly
I see what you're doing.
I want to do, but you know what? Listen, I mean, the Olympics come every 4 years, and in that 4 years, you might only be invited to one of those Olympics.
Exactly.
And when you have an opportunity to go in a once in a lifetime, you go.
I went 12 years between Olympics. So you got to take the chance when you have it.
So you went what? 06?
Yep. And 18.
06 and 18. Yeah.
And
were you the assistant captain or something over there?
And where?
At the Olympic.
He was the captain.
Is a captain at 18?
Yeah, no, definitely not an assistant in 06. I mean, we had
Langenbrunner was a captain.
Garen,
was he
and no, you're thinking of
2010.
Maybe even Vancouver, or what was after Vancouver?
Yeah, it was 2010. I remember. Okay.
Where was the Olympics in 06?
Torino, Italy.
I think the Olympics are going to be the hot topic. I'm telling you right now, they're not going. A friend of mine.
What do you think the drop dead date is? What's the drop dead date on that?
I think it's January 10th is when the NHL's deadline day to let them know. I think that's the deadline. Yeah.
No way. January 10th.
Yeah.
So you're telling me January 10th you can get a team in a month over to China if
Remember,
the
I did
NHLers
say,
don't go.
I think.
That, like, our team was picked January 1, and it was extremely
Well, the team's already picked, so I think it is. I think it is.
It's already picked, but the NHL doesn't go. Now all these teams have to figure out.
I think what they're doing is I think they're in the process right now of putting together backup rosters.
Yeah. Where are you going to find all those players? American Hockey League players that are playing in Europe
and
right
AHL
now?
in Europe. Like,
is Jack Quinn going? You know what I mean? Like guys like that.
Jack Quinn's leading the.
Okay, if you're a GM owner of a team, are you going to let your AHL guys go if you don't let your NHL guys go?
100,000%.
You are?
Yes.
You're no longer worried about safety anymore.
Not at all.
COVID could get you anywhere. Guy is sending his number one guy, Krebs or Quinn, in the minors to go and play in the Olympics. You're sacrificing him.
1,000%. They're young,
so you'll take the chance for him to have experience over there in that setting.
1,000%
over his health.
About this, I'm not worried about his health. What are you talking about?
Well, you said COVID could get you anywhere. You were worried about health.
Damn right, it can get you anywhere. Doesn't
At
mean
the NHL level, he was worried about losing his player for 3 weeks.
Exactly.
I don't think he's actually
I'm worried
about
the AHL guy doesn't care.
These players.
Okay?
These guys are specimens. COVID's not going to hurt them. They're specimens.
I'm not worried about COVID. Okay, these players have great and strong immunities. Okay, and they're going to go over. Like, every one of these guys are vaccinated. Everyone are vaccinated. Shouldn't be a problem. Okay, they're going to go over there. I'm worried about this, what happens, the stipulations. If you get COVID in the semifinal match and you get called off, now you're there for 21 days. You might be fine. You might not even have symptoms. You might be completely sitting there going for 21 days, 3 weeks. You're going to be in Beijing where you're totally fine. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the health of the players because I feel the players are going to be fine. I'm worried about you, the star. Okay, you are going to take away from the team when you come back. That's what I would be worried about, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are trying to make the playoffs, and if you're not there, 3 weeks is a long time.
I may have missed it. I don't know if I've seen it. Is there a protocol for them coming back over and joining their NHL team? Has that been discussed or talked about? Do you know what I mean? Like, you come back, you got three guys from the Sabres roster.
I don't understand why. What's the problem? That's the whole point of getting vaccinated, is it not?
I don't disagree with you. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, look at the protocol that the NHL has had to keep in place, even though you got 99.8% of the people vaccinated.
That's still confusing to me. I talk about this, with Petey, off here and asking, I don't understand what the heck is going on.
Well,
there's
I think
players that are being there's players that are being tested.
Being vaccinated doesn't mean you're
have no symptoms.
COVID. It means that I think if you get COVID, I think your body doesn't maybe get the worst effects of it. I think that's like your body. That's at least what I don't think. Is that clearly COVID, clearly being vaccinated does not mean you're not going to get COVID, because I know lots of people that have been vaccinated that have gotten COVID.
Yeah. So I didn't.
And I said to one of them, I said, I thought that's why we got vaccinated. And then he said to me, he said, well, no. He said, no, we got vaccinated so that if we got COVID, that it won't kill us.
Yeah.
Well, most people had a 99% chance of not dying.
I was never afraid of COVID killing me anyway. I'm for the most part healthy. I'm in my 40s. Like, I lost a lot of weight. Like, I'm not. I
just don't understand why they,
I only got it for travel.
In the National Hockey League. Why? And you see it in the NFL. Like, these players got vaccinated so they can play. Okay.
But I mean, I don't think you can play if
is there no more sickness
and have tested positive
everything
for
COVID now? Is everything COVID? Is there no more flu anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, I was walking
I'm
around
saying if you're getting vaccinated,
I was coughing my brains out, and I'm like, everyone's going to think it's COVID, even though I don't have COVID.
Yeah. And listen, I was just asking those. I always ask those questions because the reason why those players got vaccinated is to protect themselves from the virus. Has it come out that you can still get the virus even though you're vaccinated? The answer is yes. The vaccine is it was supposed to be 90% effective, but it's not. It's 40 to 50%. So people can get the COVID. I guess just the question is, these players, these professional athletes, they've gone out, they've got the vaccine, and it's just some of these players don't have symptoms. They don't have any symptoms. They tested positive for COVID, but they don't have symptoms, and they have to stay out. It just doesn't make sense.
Not my rules, man.
They're in an environment where the entire environment is 100% vaccinated.
Well, and that's why I posed the question, is there something that these players are going to need to do coming back?
What I find amazing is that players will play if they have the flu or they have a fever.
100%.
Or they have
I could barely move. You couldn't move until game time.
Yes.
And then you go out there and have one of your best games ever because you just didn't.
You would throw in 3 Sudafed and you're boom shakalaka.
Gio, if I showed up
positive according to water
or flu, they sent me home. They weren't like, no, we need you to play.
They're like, Petey, just stay home, buddy.
You just stay home. Oh, Gio's got the flu too. Well, can he get here?
But that's the thing. You remember, you guys do remember that where I remember being in Tampa Bay. I can still remember this, and it happened multiple times throughout my career. I played a long time, and flu's out there, and I was sick. Holy jumping was I sick, the chills, vomiting, the whole shooting match. And they told me to stay home from the pregame skate. I couldn't even go down to eat pregame meal. And I ended up playing that night.
Yep.
I literally drank water and I had a protein bar before the game. I went out and played and I got it done and I felt like shit, but you played through it. And now it's,
Agreed.
Anyway.
Gio, great stuff today, man. Thanks.
Thanks, bud.
That's a wrap on another episode of After the Whistle. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, After the Whistle, and at Craig Rivet 52, at the Instigator 76. And you can find us, as you already know, on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and anywhere else where you can get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to spread the word.